month is definitely going to start out a little weird, I'm not going to lie. But you're going to start to figure out what this month actually is going to be about, what it's going to feel like, what your mind is going to be on, what it's going to be occupied on starting September 10th. Welcome back to Uprise, friends. Before we begin, I want to let you know a few very important things about today's reading, especially if you're new to astrology. These readings are for your rising sign and your sun sign. If you know both, then you can obviously check out both of them. And I wanted to share this information with you before we dive into your horoscope for this month. But before we begin, I want to introduce myself. My name is Aylin Sky. I'm an astrologer and numerologist. I'm best known for cutting right through the noise and getting the most important messages to you. My intention is to help any present-day visionary to live their best life. So if you like what I offer on this channel, then let's hang out, subscribe, ring the bell so that it notifies you every time I put out a new forecast or horoscope. I'm happy that you are here, and let's dive into your horoscope now. From September 1st until the 22nd, the sun is going to be transiting your fourth house. That was my dog, by the way, just in case you were wondering what this furry thing was over here. That was my dog. So from September 1st until the 22nd, your fourth house is illuminated. This is going to bring up a bunch of things for you guys that are in regards to your family life, in regards to family history. Now, for some of you, this will be a time where you're actually going to start to reflect upon very important healing stages that have occurred that maybe before you would have not recognized that you've come this far. You really have come very far. The Virgo sun is going to be pointing out what decisions were really monumental in your life, what have brought you closer to having a lot more peace. Even though you may want to create more of it, there is a part of you that is going to start to recognize as the month is continuing on that you have made a lot of important choices that brought you to where you're at now. But now there are more choices that have to be made in regards to family, in regards to family history, in regards to how your mindset is with all of those, subjects and themes I just mentioned. But overall, it has to do and ties into your emotional well-being and upbringing that you have worked really, really hard on. The sun in Virgo points out the very important details and the remedies and the decisions starting from September 1st that have come into play to bring you to where you're at, and what else can now happen because of how far you have come. Late on September 9th, Mercury starts to station retrograde in your fifth house. Mercury is in Libra. This is going to bring up a lot of sensitivities around your joy, what you vibe with, what it is that you love, things that are on your heart that you absolutely love doing, and even just you feeling a lot more purposeful in whatever it is that you're enjoying to do. People that you are vibing with, or people that you are with, your children, or even a romantic pursuit where you have to make further decisions or need to go a little bit further and deeper into deciding how you want to spend your time. September 23rd until the end of the month, the sun now begins to transit through Libra. Now, oftentimes the fifth house can also be a time where we are really taking a look at wanting to expand some sense of fulfillment in general. So what I think is coming under review here, especially with the sun being here with Mercury retrograde, is really a time where a lot of you are going to be taking a look at what fulfillment really looks like for you. And it may also tie into other relationships here. It may tie into very important relationships that help you define what fulfillment needs to look like or what it looks like, and sort of the conversation starts to engage there. But the other thing that is going to happen here is that boundaries come into play as well. September 23rd, there is going to be a Mercury Sun conjunction that is going to happen in your fifth house. This is going to start to clear up a lot of confusion, actually. This is when you are going to get some very needed insights into anything that felt confusing when it comes to your heart, or when it came to heartfelt matters when it came to your children or anything involving romantic sort of, connections. So this is going to be a time where I think you're going to start to have a complete reset. This will also tie into Venus, because Venus on this day is going to be at 22. And I do want to mention real quick, Venus being at 22, this is going to be really important because this is going to happen in your 4th house. Any females in the family that you have any kind of connection to, there could be very important resets, very important conversations that you're going to be having around establishing new sense of trust. So there could be a reset of some sort, and your mind gets cleared. You know exactly what you need to do. You know exactly what conversation you need to have, or the conversation starts to unfold. And so things start to move in a direction that start to clear up some kind of cynicism even. It could be that you have been, or you felt that, you've been pretty heavy when it came to the subject in your heart. Like, you had cynicism, you felt some sense of betrayal. Betrayal could be a part of it as well, because Mercury and the sun will be at 0 degrees. This has to do with loyalty. It has to do with trust. It has to do with these types of subjects that I just mentioned for you guys. The next day, September 24th, Mercury then starts to drop from your 5th house back into your 4th house. So as you're clearing up some much needed confusion, you now have to work out the details. Some necessary changes have to occur. Mercury goes into that decision-making realm even further in Virgo by basically saying, okay, well, that's great. We cleared this confusion. There is a reset, but what are we going to do about it now in real time? And how is this going to impact my family dynamics? How is it going to impact the relationships that I have and the relationships that are most important to me, or even my emotional, comfort zone? So you're going to be weighing out the pros and cons here. Mercury in Virgo also remembers and draws back from memories that have to do with the past, some unpleasant memories. It has like details in regards to it on its mind. So for you, this is going to be in the 4th house. And so you may have to weigh out the pros and cons. What does loyalty look like? What does trust look like now? What does it look like in the patterns that you're going to live out, especially at home or around your comfort zones? The other really big important transit that is going to be unfolding is the Sun-Jupiter opposition. This is going to happen at 3 degrees. The Sun is going to be in your 5th house. It's going to oppose Jupiter in your 11th house. This is going to be a time, I think, where you guys are going to start to have to really work out where in the world, the attachments that you have out there in the world to people and groups and friends, where you are not being given sort of the opportunity or given sort of the uplift by other people to really expand and develop, who you are inside of the organization, for example, or inside of this sort of group setting or even with friends. So there is going to be a moment here where you're going to start to see that there is a blind spot. Perhaps you believed all this time that you had this kind of, support or this kind of a space provided by other people, giving you sort of the platform to develop and kind of bring your ideas even out onto the table, share what it is that you have to offer. And so now you start to realize that you don't have that kind of a support. So there is sort of this blind spot or this false idea that gets exposed. And on this day, we are going to have Mercury conjunct Venus trine Pluto. Now, Mercury and Venus are going to be conjunct in your 4th house. This is going to continue to work sort of conversations now that are going to happen around, much needed sort of release around commitments that maybe you are letting go at this time, or you're wanting to deepen, or you're wanting to kind of redefine commitments because Mercury and Venus are going to be conjuncting at 26 degrees. This has to do with commitments. This has to do with our sense of what we are truly happy to take on as a responsibility in our life and what we're not happy to take on. So it's going to involve other people. It's going to be you and something else or somebody else with a set of responsibilities that you might not want to take on at this time, or you feel like you want to take on at this time. And so this starts to redefine what this is going to do to behind closed doors with other people. Okay, so there's going to be an impact of this, whatever you decide on this day, because Pluto is going to be in the 8th house, in the house of loyalty, in the house of trust, in the house of, commitments, especially to people that we are very intimate with. So if you are committed to someone, that comes into play here. There's going to be an impact of any kind of decision making in regards to what you feel comfortable with, of what you're taking on at this time. And so Pluto is going to give you sort of this boost and this confidence to, know that you are going to make the right decision by understanding what you feel comfortable and what you feel loyal towards. That is going to be the measure most important on this day. That's a wrap on today's horoscope. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up. Have a great month ahead and see you in the next video.